Friends, welcome to this 2 days exciting journey on behalf of Higher Education Forum, SI School of Learning and Leadership Development, and my Retired Life Foundation. We extend a very hearty welcome to this 2 days, as I told, exciting journey. As you know, that the artificial intelligence has reshaped and is reshaping the entire landscape of education, and in that entire landscape of education, research plays an extremely important role, and artificial intelligence is transforming even the landscape of the research too. So we thought that on behalf of higher education from the primarily that let's keep our members abreast of the various tools which are available in the realm of academic research, starting from the topic identification to the report writing. And we searched from various sources, and finally we zeroed on Dr. Punit Pathak from various references. So that's how Dr. Punit is with us. Dr. Punit, thank you for being with us over here, and look forward to seeing you for the next 2 days over this particular session. Ladies and
Thank you.
gentlemen, a very brief bio of Dr. Punit Pathak. Dr. Punit Pathak is a faculty member at the School of the Liberal Arts and the Human Sciences at the Oro University, Surat. His specialization is completely very diverse specialization, that is a diaspora, the studies, the technology, artificial intelligence, literacy, literacy theory, and I mean to say, and criticism. I mean say that essentially means that he is a purely liberal arts guy. Let's put it that way. And he is recognized as a very strong teacher, as a strong researcher, both by students and the colleagues. And he has been very, very active in the field of the artificial intelligence and the research tools. So without standing between you and Dr. Punit Pathak, I request Dr. Punit to please take it forward. Dr. Punit, the floor is open to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Good evening, everyone, and namaste once again. I hope I'm audible and we'll get started. So, without taking any further time, let me share my screen and we'll go ahead with the session. Sir, if you can just help me out here, I hope my screen is visible.
Yeah, it is starting with a what can I help with, isn't it?
Yes, perfect. Yes, yes, sir. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
sir.
that's
Okay,
perfect.
yeah, just a small announcement. So I also mentioned this to Sir before we go into the tools that we are going to discuss over the next 2 days. The tools that I'm about to show are very heavy in terms of their bandwidth, starting with ChatGPT. That plus my screen being shared throughout the session, since it's going to be a hands-on session or a hands-on demo. So especially for those of us who wish to simultaneously try these tools along with the demo that is going on, please feel free to do so. We'll be sharing the links in between in the chat box. I'll try to do that as and when I can. So that's why I'll be keeping my video off. I'll turn it on again during the go into the discussion section at the end. So we can have some questions as we move ahead into the session. Okay. So with having said that, let's get started. Before I dive into the tools that I wanted to start out with, and since Sir has already mentioned that the journey that we're going to undertake as far as discovery and discussion of these tools is concerned, we do that by identifying steps that we usually follow whenever we are working out with any research topic or any research area or any project that we are working on, which begins with brainstorming a major area from narrowing it down to that to a particular topic, then planning, brainstorming, mapping of the process, literature review, writing, analysis, etc. So that's what we are going to be doing. That's how the tools are also divided. So before I start, however, may I please have some responses? Please feel free to unmute, or maybe you can post in the chat box as well about what is your understanding of these AI tools, and if you have tried using any of them before. If you can just let me know that a little bit, because that will give me a better context to begin with. If you can just give some responses, that will be good. Please feel free to unmute and respond to the discussion. Let's make it more interactive so that it is possible for us to learn, because along with my demo is the discussion part. Yeah. Yes. Somebody has unmuted, I think. You can please,
Yeah,
Vishnu
yeah, I'm
Kanherji.
yeah, Vishnu. Yeah, I'm Vishnu Kanere. I
Yes,
have
yes,
used
please.
ChatGPT. Yeah, I've used ChatGPT for researching. See, I'm a practicing chartered accountant, apart from being a
Hmm.
PhD in management. So I've used
Okay,
ChatGPT for my professional work. Of course, we
okay.
need to double check on what happens because, just recently, the institute also has a lot of literature on it. But just recently, there was a reported case in the US that a lawyer
Hmm.
took the help of ChatGPT, prepared a draft reply. There were a lot of case
Oh,
laws quoted, and when he
yeah.
submitted it to the court, it turned out that those case laws were completely fabricated. They were non-existent.
True.
So then, therefore,
Very true, sir.
what we have been advised by the institute is that whatever ChatGPT may tell you, you
Yeah,
verify the facts yourself before using it.
absolutely.
So that's my
Very true, sir. Very
experience
true.
till now.
Thank you so much for sharing that experience. So thank you. Can we have some more responses as well? Please, please feel free to share your thoughts or experiences on this. Or maybe just your general thought on AI with the entire discussion that is going on before we dive into the demo there. Yes, some more responses. All right. So, in case you wish to share anything in between, you please, I request you to do so. So, going ahead with beginning with my demo for today. So, we are going to start out with the tool that Vishnu sir has mentioned. I'm going to be showing many of us might have used ChatGPT before, and we know it's a very, very diverse and a very, very rich tool in terms of the kind of activities or the kind of options that it gives to us. So I just want to showcase a few elements of ChatGPT. We'll come back to it as we go ahead in our discussion because we are going to be using it in conjunction with the rest of the tools as and when required so as to get better output. So the first thing that I want to begin with is to showcase this part right here. Let me just, nice my window. Yeah. So the screen that I'm currently on is usually the screen that we get when we open ChatGPT, when we log in, and this is our home page as we know, and this is our search window, search bar. We'll be coming back to it in a few moments. But what I want to show are two important elements inside ChatGPT, which can be useful for any kind of output or prompt that we are generating in order to get a better result. Especially a more customized or a more better. So what we have to do is we can see that we have a profile option that is given right here. We click on that and we come to this option right here that says settings. It's always a good idea with not just with ChatGPT, but with any of the tools to have an understanding of how it allows us to leverage the options that are built inside of it so as to get better outcome. So what the option that we go to first is this option right here, which says personalization. And both the options that I wanted to discuss here sort of are given inside personalization only. Some of us might be aware of this, for some of us it might be new. So I'm beginning from this section. And the first one that I want to talk about is memory. Now, memory is a very, very interesting feature of ChatGPT. So the way we understand memory is by trying to understand that the moment when we are having any kind of an interaction or any kind of a discussion, or maybe when we are inputting anything in ChatGPT, something, for example, something as simple as this. When I write anything as an input, the output that I'm getting would be based on the input that I give. So what memory essentially does, to put it very simply, is that it will understand the inputs that we are giving plus the output that it generates in order to give us better responses. And that's exactly what it says right here. So in a way, uh, somebody's mic is on. Can I please request you to thank you. Yeah. So, in a way, memory essentially what it does is it goes through the interaction that we have with ChatGPT, and it allows the model, the LLM or the language model as it's called, behind ChatGPT to give us better responses. And the way it does so is the way it is advised to use this better is that anytime we are trying to carry out a task which requires long form content, which what essentially this means is that we require a lot of responses from ChatGPT to be generated. It's always useful to do it within the same chat instance. That is to say, we should not go to a new chat every time. Instead, we should stick to the same chat because every time I'm asking something, what it does is it goes back to the previous conversation or the previous interaction, and from therein it tries to give us a better response. So that's how memory essentially works. We'll see that as we go ahead, like how it is giving us better outputs the more I try to keep the interaction limited to one specific chat instance. So that's the first one. But depending upon our preferences, memory can be turned on or off. If turned off, if we read the blogs or the documentation that OpenAI, which is the platform that has developed ChatGPT, on its website, we see that the understanding is that when memory is turned off, it would not use the input or the data that we give for training its model. However, that is something that we have to, will maybe we'll compromise as time goes ahead, and as we have more clarity on the way it functions. But I'm going to keep this on because I found that it will be quite useful in my instances when I've used it. The second one that I wish to talk about at this point is this very interesting function, which is called as custom instructions. Maybe some of us have used it here. We can share those experiences. We click on this option right here, which says on, and it will bring us to this new window right here, or this new pop-up that opens up. Now, this is a very, very interesting feature. It's a very simple output window which requires us to answer two very simple questions. The first one says, what would you like ChatGPT to know about you to provide better responses? And the second one says, how would you like ChatGPT to respond? Now, the moment I try to go to the first input inbox, and when I try to see the question, it also gives us a sort of an indicative list as to how this question can be answered in a detailed manner so as to gain, just like memory, so as to gain better response whenever we ask ChatGPT to do something. So we can see that there is a pretty decent amount of character limit that is given here, which is about 1500 characters. So we can have a very detailed response that would allow ChatGPT to know the kind of functionality that we want to use it for. So maybe this answer can be as brief or as detailed as per our requirement. And some of the things that we can let it know is that what are the subject that we want to talk about, what is the professional position that I'm working into, what are the goals that I have. So it can be answered into something like this. Something we keep it very simple for now. I am an academic researcher working in the area of, I'll remove this box. A moment. Yeah, working in the area of higher education in English literature and language with a specific focus on technology. So something as simple as this, which basically tells the platform as to what kind of output or what kind of resources do we desire or information we desire whenever we are asking it any question or prompt, as we call it. So it's a very simplistic. I have given it an answer in about 100 characters, and so that's what I meant when I said that this can be a very very decent amount of information that it can give to us. And the second one is the second question is designed to let ChatGPT know what kind of output we desire. So let's make it very simple again. I want you to respond in the person of an academic researcher, formal. Oh, So these are the two responses that I have given. So when I want ChatGPT to respond to what I say, I want it to be to assume this persona of academic researchers, since that's the a broad area that we're going to be talking about, and the output of the language can be from. So there are some other indicative questions that are given here, but we can keep these two and we save it. And from now onwards, whenever I have a chat with ChatGPT, we would see that it would try to take into account the two instructions that I've given. Let's see it. We go back to ChatGPT, we click on a new chat option, and we ask it a very simple question like suggest some research topics in the area of, let's say, digital humanities. So as we can see, since my now this is where we start getting the custom instructions coming into play here. Since I have talked about how technology is supposed to be my focus, it tries to sort of weave the response in and around that particular instruction. And I won't go into too much content part of it. We can try and I would request you to try and explore it as you, depending on the domain that you have, you can try to give instructions accordingly. But what you will notice is that, what at least I have noticed, is that the kind of information that we give, it would utilize that as a context. And then from there in, it would try to respond into that specific manner. And within this instance only, we can see how memory works by looking at the same interaction that we go ahead with it. Mm, say, for example, again, something very simple, very conversational, but very effective is a prompt like this based on the above information. Suggest some recent frameworks for my research. So let's see what it does. Again, we can see that the focus seems to be revolving in and around technology. So this couples both the memory feature with the previous output that has come, which was this output where the focus was predominantly again on tech. And from there in, it tries to give me a detailed information on what are some of the frameworks I can use. So AI, it goes on to talk about AI and generative AI and neural networks and all this. And then it goes on to talk about some more of these areas that can be explored. And just to keep in mind that these are two very simple one-line prompts that are designed. These are not even detailed prompts. And just the topic was given based on the context that I have shared in the custom instructions section. From therein, this information can be pulled. So my request and suggestion would be to try to utilize these two areas and the instructions in the memory part. And depending on the combination, you can try to see the difference between normal out and when these instructions are given. So that was the first part of it. We'll be coming back to ChatGPT as we go ahead, and we'll see how it can be better leveraged when we are trying to look at some of the tools that we're going to be discussing. So having said, the first part, whenever we start out with any specific research area or any specific topic, would be the planning stage. And our first two or three tools are going to help us understand that. So the first idea would be to try to narrow down the broader topics that we have in mind into specific topics or specific areas and to gain some insight or some information. And the first tool that is going to help us do that is mentioned in my next screen that I'm going to be sharing just now. It's a very popular platform. It's free to use. The best part is it doesn't require any sign up or any kind of account to be created. It's called Open Knowledge Maps. Let me see if I can just put it in the chat box as well. Yeah, I think I posted the link. So this one would help us try to sort of it will do both the things. It will get us head on the uh, delimitation or sort of narrowing down of the research area that we are sort of working into, plus trying to get a start on some of the indicative documents that would help us look at the topic. So before I go into the details of how we can use this, I would like to scroll down. So this is its homepage. As we can see, there is no option to sign up or sign in. We don't require any sort of an account on this platform. The interesting part is to look at its mission statement that they have made when they are talking about the creation of this platform. So the whole idea, if we read through their mission statements, is to sort of try to create a open, not exactly open access, but to try to make available some of those documents or some of those papers or topics in a mode or method which would allow us to access them more easily. So that's what open knowledge maps exactly is useful for. And another interesting thing that I would like to show is it should be somewhere right here. Yeah, these are some of the organizations or platforms which the website or the platform that we're looking at works with. We can see that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is listed here. There are some more that are given. Uh, Now, this is what I'm showing. This is that it tells us the kind of data, information that would be available in the database of open knowledge maps would be quite detailed. That is my purpose here. So my suggestion is, so I said this for ChatGPT also, I'll say this for all of my tools, that the best way out to know about any of them is to first try to see through the kind of documentation that they have given. So let's come back on the top. So it says on the headline right here, map a research topic with AI. We can see that there are two options that are given here. Of course, as we know that they refer to two databases. For life sciences disciplines, we have PubMed that is listed here. And for all our other databases or for all our other areas like humanities and social sciences and other areas, we have base. So I'm going to be keeping base. Base is selected by default. We just, this one functions just like our search window of ChatGPT. We just have to enter the broader research area or research topic that we are working with. And I'll go with the same example. We just look at, we just type the broader subject area and I'll click on go. Now, the output that comes out will depend on a few factors: the bandwidth of the internet, the load on the server of Open Knowledge Maps, and the list of keywords that we have entered into the topic. We'll just wait for a few seconds. It should have an output for us quite soon. So let's just do it a few seconds. All right. So the output is ready. We can see that the screen is divided into two parts on both the sides. On the left, we have this sort of a Venn diagram or sort of a scale out being created, which has the areas that are listed. And according to these areas, we can see that it's interactive. We'll come to that in a moment. But right here on the top, we see that this database was updated as of 26th of November, which is, I think, they updated today only. They keep on updating it fairly regularly. And we see that it has tried to pull around 100 most relevant documents based on the keywords that I have entered right here. And from here on in, whichever area is applicable to my topic or my domain that I'm working on, what I have to do is I simply have to click on that section. Let's say I'm going with this one, digital humanities, publishing tools, etc. I click on it, it will open up that section. Now here we can see that there are two different kinds of document lists that we can see. We can see that some of them have this green symbol right here on the top, and some of them don't have it. So the ones that are given with a green unlocked symbol are the documents, research papers, articles, etc., which are available for open access. So from here only itself, we would be able to access the document directly. We'll just see that in a moment. So let's say, for example, that I want to work with this particular document. I click on this, we come to the right section here. That's the right part of the screen. On the top, we get two options. The first, which says open access. Second, it tells us the broader category of the article, that it's a journal or a newspaper article, followed by the title. And I think let me go with the second because I think this is in German, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, let's go with this one. So we have the title, the author, the DOI link of the document, a brief summary or a brief abstract summary of the paper that Open Knowledge Maps was able to pull from the document. And we can see that there are three options right here. I'll click on the first one, which is PDF. Based on the homepage or based on where the document is located, there are three possibilities. The first possibility is it will open the document like this here itself, and I would be able to easily download it from right here. So I think it should download in a moment. Yeah, we have it right here. So that's the first possibility. The second possibility, let me come back, is that it will take us directly to the website where the document itself is located. Let's try with the second one. So this one, we can see that Open Knowledge Maps was able to pull sort of a more bigger amount of information from the paper itself. Let's see what happens this time. So this is the second possibility. Sometimes the document will not show, but what it will do is instead it will give us a hyperlink. So if I click on this hyperlink right here, it would enable me to come to the home page of where the document should be. And somewhere here should be a PDF link on this page where I should be able to download it from here because it says open access. So there should be a PDF somewhere. I'm not able to find it, but just a minute. Yeah, maybe this one. Yeah, that's it. Here we go. So this is the PDF copy of the document. And again, same logic applies. I can download it from here. I can save it. And it will be saved in whatever location I wish for it to be saved. And the third possibility is it would directly take me to the website instead of clicking the website option. It would directly open that link and I can download it from there. So in this way, it would allow us to navigate through a lot of information in a shorter amount of time and thereby enabling us to see how the documents are clustered together and what kind of overlaps are there between the various topics or the various areas on which these papers have been written on. And if I want to come out of this section, all I have to do is I have to move out of the circle. I can click here and I'm back on the main homepage. And in this way, I can go to any of them and the same process can be repeated. We can also click on this option right here, which says back to overview, where again, we can see we're back on the main street. Okay. So this was the left side of the section or the screen. We come to the right part of the homepage where we can see that we have two options right here. I'll start one with the one with on the right. We can see that there are about four options that are available to us. I can sort the papers or the documents by the relevance to my keywords, the title, the authors, or the year of publication. Whatever I choose to do, it will transition or it will change depending on what I select. You can see that the list is changing as we go ahead. So according to our preference, we can do a better option is the one that is available right here. So right now it says show any, which means that it will show me both the papers, the ones that are available for download, as well as the ones that are not available. So this one doesn't have a green symbol on the top. If I click on this, we'll see that there is a short abstract that is given. The rest of the information is there, but the download option is not. I do not have a download option here. So we do get information about the paper or the document, but the downloading also, which means that the paper is somewhere behind the paywall. So that is something to take a note of. And in order to get through this, what Open Knowledge Maps allows us to do is we can click on Open Access, which means that what it would do is it would simply allow us to show only those papers now which are available for open access. So I can access them from here as well. All the information is available here, the author, the journal, title, the link, etc. So that's what this option does if it is enabled. And this one, search within visualization, is if I write something here, if that information is available in this section, it would be able to pull out papers according to what I type here. So let's say digital. And we can see that the word digital is coming these many times. It is able to do that as well. So that is something to take a note of. Yeah, all right. Now, what I wanted to show next is these two options that are given right here. Let's say, for example, that I find this particular paper to be useful for my research or my topic that I'm working on. I can click on this option right here, which says Cite As, and it will open up a whole new menu. Let me show it once again. Let's say this paper that I'm working on is available here, and I want to maybe save this. I can click on Cite As. It will bring me to this particular topic or this particular window, and we can see that there are four major citation styles that are available for our reference. We have APA, we have APA, I think it's 7th edition, MLA, it's still working with 8. We have the Chicago style and the ACM style. But just like ChatGPT, since they are AI tools, they do put out a disclaimer that before using this citation pattern anywhere, we would have to verify the formatting of it. But assuming that we find it to be correct and we find it useful, all we have to do is we have to click on copy, and I can simply come back to a new Word document, and I should be able to ideally paste it directly. So in this way, the citations can be saved depending upon our requirement. And with the click of a button, it would change the style itself. So that's how this option, the Cite As button works. And the third option that we have here is called as export. If I click on this export option, what it does is it will give me a BibTeX format of the citation. So in case we are working with any reference management software, that would allow us to import BibTeX files, or maybe if we are working with LaTeX and if we wish to import that here, that also is possible with a specific article. So you can see that the BibTeX file is also downloaded. This code can be copied also. Depending upon if there's a requirement of this, we can use it if needed. So this is how the first tool in this list works. It's called Open Knowledge Maps. Just a quick recap. It allows us to cluster the topics together and then from there start working towards looking at the documents or the research papers or the articles that are useful in the area that we wish to work in. Okay, so that's the first one. With that, I would now like to move to my next tool for today. So once we have shortlisted our areas and once we have started looking at the kind of topics that we want to work with, let me close the extra tabs. Yeah. So after that, the second step of the process usually would be to work on trying to map out the process of research that I wish to follow. And we now have a tool very useful that can help us with that. The name of the tool is Heuristica. The process to access it is very, very simple. We just have to go to Google. We can simply type Heuristica. And the very first link that we see, it would be the link that we are going to be working with. We can click on that. It will bring us to the same homepage. The website says Heuristic. The name is Heuristica. Again, we can see that it has quite a detailed list of organizations that it's contributing with in order to provide us the kind of tools that we're going to be seeing that it has. And before I go into the tool itself, just this 1 minute short video, actually, we're not going to watch the whole of it, but just a short insight into what it can do. As we'll go ahead, we'll look into it. Basically, it's a concept mapping tool, and it is powered by the same technology or the same language model that powers ChatGPT. So the kind of responses that we will get from here would be, in terms of its form of the content, would be similar to what ChatGPT gives to us, of course, in a shorter format. Heuristica, and I think this is a good point to mention that my tools that I will show, including Heuristica, will be in two categories. Some of them are completely free to use, like Open Knowledge Maps, and some of them are freemium versions, which means that there are some usage limitations that we would be having with these tools in the free version. And Heuristica would require us to log in. Let me try to I'll just post the link of the tool itself. So I've done that in case anybody wishes to explore. We click on login. First time when we do it, we'll have to sign up. But I think since I have an account, I should be able to open it. Just a minute. Just give me a second. I think I'll have to enter via code. All right. So once we log in, we can see that the login and sign up options have disappeared from here, and it will be replaced by this option called as Get Started. And the moment I click on Get Started, it will bring me to this kind of an interactive environment. And the tool itself will begin by asking me a question as to how I would like to get a response from Heuristica, or what are the topic or the area that I wish to explore. Now, as I mentioned, this is the freemium version. So we can see that some options, such as this one here, which allows me to upload a PDF, is locked, for which I would require a subscription. But as it happens with AI, since it's very rapidly advanced in technology, for each limitation that one tool has, we have another alternative tool for that. So most of it will be covered as we go ahead. So while this one might not allow us to upload a PDF, we have better ones. And for this purpose, particularly, we have a tool by Google itself, which we'll be looking at as we go ahead. So what we have to do is I'll close this. This is what the actual interactive window looks like. And hide something here. Okay, it will go away. And from here on in, we can see that there are some options that are given on the left, and there are some options that are given on the right. And the ones that we are useful for us are given on right here. Most of these, which are importing of the map and the rest of it, would be locked. If we find it to be useful, we can think of maybe, I don't know, subscribing to the premium version of it. Okay. If I click on Get Started once again, and I'll click on this search button. Yeah. So we see that there is an Add New Concept button right here. I click on it. It will bring up the same dialog box again.
Please.
Cut, 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 cut. Anything cut.
Somebody's mic is
नहीं कर दो सुनो प्लीज नको मार
Yeah, thank you so much. Somebody's mic was on. May I please request you? I won't be able to see the screen because my screen is shared. So just a request to keep the audio on. Unless, of course, you have a question, you can unmute. All right. So I'll go with the same topic. I click on Explore, and we will see that the concept has been added here. Now, if we see carefully, we'll see that the edges of the option that I've added are colored. So which means they're highlighted, which means that this is selected and this is my primary concept node. If I click outside somewhere, we see that it goes away. If I click on it again, we see that it is selected. So whatever features I will use from here on in for Heuristica would take digital humanities as the base or as the starting point. And we can see that there is very limited amount of typing that we have to do. We can start out by exploring some of these options very easily. For example, let's say I want to know more about this topic, and since I'm in the planning stages of my process, I simply click on what. And as I said, since it's powered by AI, it would enable me to get some basic information about what the primary node concept is referring to. So in this instance, digital humanities, as it tries to define the topic, is an interdisciplinary field that merges traditional humanities disciplines, and then it goes on to uh, talk about what the field is all about. And this is one very interesting observation that we usually notice whenever I demo Heuristica is that it tries to end the paragraph very similar to what ChatGPT does. So that's another instance of where we can very clearly know that it is powered by the same technology or the same language model that powers ChatGPT. And we have this button right here which says add to concept map. I click on it and we can see that a node will be established, sort of indicating a relationship between the primary node and this node. And as I said, that whenever I switch between the two, it will change the selected node. And if I select this one and then I click on any of these options, then it would take that as the primary information and not this one. So there is another interesting some few WH question options that we can explore. Let's say who, and some of these, before I come to that, we can see that there are some of these buttons which have this blue dot on the top. Usually what this will indicate is that once I click on it, I will have further some options to choose from. So the who option, if I click on it, allows me to explore some of these options. That who are the key figures in this area, who founded or invented this field, if it's about a person, who is that person, who are the proponents of this domain, etc. Let's say key figures if I want to know of digital humanities. You can see that it starts out by giving us some names. Franco Moretti. Of course, we'll have just like with any other AI tool, the thumb rule would be to verify any information that it gives and to see the accountability and the authenticity of that information before using it anywhere. There are a few more names I can see in between. There is Tanya Clement, there is Leo Lefmanovich, but it does essentially demo what I'm trying to show, that the the whole process of trying to manually hunt through is saved up to certain extent. So in this way, I have key figures. If I click on origin, obviously it will tell me about try to sort of tell me the brief origin point of this domain, somewhere around, I think it says 20th century, if I'm not wrong, in the late 20th century, and then it goes on to give me a whole lot of information about that as well. So I can add, and the whole map is interactive. I can move around anywhere. It's like a canvas. I can move anywhere around I wish to. Similarly, we have other options: elaborate, pros, cons, extracts, but some of the more important ones, especially from the perspective of delimiting or choosing a topic that we are working on, is this very important option right here, which says concept. If I click on concept, we can see that there are four options here. Two of them are long, sub-concepts and parent concepts. But heuristica in itself is so powerful that even with the free version, we'll just see that in a moment, how the amount of information it is able to give out or generate. Let's say I am new to this domain and I wish to know what are the related concepts that are available in this area. I can simply click on related and it will take a moment, and we can see that it has given us a list of about 17 items currently. I'll click on load more. Now we have over 32. Let's try one more time. To 55. Now we can see that these are some of the concepts that are related to the parent concept, that is digital humanities that we have, and whichever are of interest to us. So let's say maybe topics like data visualization, humanities computing. So I'm just randomly choosing it. Social media analysis, digital pedagogy, AR, VR, etc., open access for machine learning. Whatever I select, I can simply add them here, and we can see that it adds these new type nodes. And it will say very clearly on the top that these are the concepts that are related. And in this way, I can map out my whole process of trying to select the selection of the topic that I want to work with. And just like related concepts, I also have a second option, that is similar concepts right here, in case I wish to find concepts similar to this. The same process can be followed this time as well. And we'll notice that it will allow us to differentiate between both the nodes very easily. Let's say this 4. I click on add. And we can see that it says similar on the top, and here it says related concepts. So that would tell us that one is a node of related concepts, and another is the node of similar concepts. So this is one very interesting feature that is available inside Heuristic. The second one that I wanted to show should be, I think, somewhere right here. Research. Hmm. The research in the subscribed version has a lot of features where it would be able to pull out information from these sources, which is links, news, YouTube, podcasts, etc. But again, as I mentioned in the beginning, whichever features are locked here, we do have some other alternative tools to allow us to navigate through them as well. But very interesting feature, the more important one, which is enabled in the free version of Heuristica, is this books option. If I click on books, what it will do is it will just take a few seconds and it will give me around, I think, 3 or 4 important texts that are available. I think it is about 5 that are available for the topic that I'm working with. And the best part is, usually most of these links would be hyperlinked, which means that if I click on this link here, it would usually take me to an Amazon page where it would show me whether the text is actually existing or not, and that thereby allowing to get some basic information or insight into what are some of the more recent works in the area that I'm working with and who are the important authors that I'm working in this domain. And since it's I think it's a website based out of Canada, if I'm not wrong. Just a minute, sorry. Yeah. Yeah. So that's why we are being taken to the homepage of Amazon where the prices are being mentioned in dollars. So, but again, we do get a list of names that are useful. And in this way, we can try to look at some of the features that are available there. The third important feature, apart from research and concepts, is this option right here, which says, no, not significance, implications. Now, usually, whenever we are selecting any research topic, we try to think of its implications in terms of what impact it will have, especially if it's a very new area that we are working with. So we can see that it has opened up a drop-down menu. Right now, it says general implications. We can see that it allows us to have these many options to look from. I can get a list of practical implications, theoretical, cultural, social, technological, political, economical, ethical, short-term, long-term, etc. And the best part is
Sorry, we are not
this
able to see the screen.
okay, the screen is not visible. Just give me a moment. I'll reshare. I think my screen sharing stopping. Okay, let me take it from the top again. So I was talking about the books where I think my screen sharing stopped. So just to take from there
Yeah,
only,
fine. It's visible
will,
now.
yes, this one. So this was where I think I was when the screen sharing had stopped. The link takes us to the Amazon homepage of where the texts are located. So what I was explaining, let me start from there again, is this option right here, which says implications. Now, as I said, that whenever we are choosing any topic, the one thought that seems to be coming is that what kind of implications can we foresee as far as the topic or the area is concerned that we are working with? So if I click on the drop-down menu of implications, these are the options that are available to us as I read them out. And whichever one I feel is important or applicable in my area, I can click on that and it will give me results for that. But the best part about the implications tab is that even in the free version of the software, it's completely open to use. It's not locked behind any subscription. Let me first try the ones that are given here. Let's say theoretical implications. It should have a list of, try to give us a list of foreseeing the kind of implications that we'll have. I'll just read out one line maybe. I don't want to go into the detailed part of it. One major implication is the reevaluation of traditional methodologies in human research. So it will try to give us an insight into the category of implication that I choose. And same, I can add it to my concept map, and it will clearly tell me that it's a theoretical implication I have tried to look at. Let's go to implications once again. And we can see that there are a lot more to choose from, short term, long. If we are thinking about some long term implications, that also is possible to maybe sort of get a response on. And I think this is a good stopping point to sort of try to look at what I was referring to earlier, which is how Chat GPT can be used in conjunctions with the tools that we're looking at. So suppose I have generated this information from heuristic, or if I find this to be useful. Let's say I take this. This is just a short example that I'm giving. We go back to ChatGPT. I'll paste it here, and let's try to gain some insights from this. Let's go with again a very simple prompt based on the above information. Suggest long-term implications of digital humanities on research. So in this way, what works, I think, better is that if we try to combine the strength that ChatGPT has, which is to analyze the context or the content analysis that it is able to do in a very short amount of time, especially when starting out with the first draft of our research, we can gain insights or information from other platforms and maybe, sort of combine the use case in this way so as to make the results better. And I think this is also a good time to mention that none of the tools that I am showing or I will show as we go ahead are supposed to replace the process of research. Because I always get this question asked after my every session that, what about the whole ethical part of AI? We'll be talking about that, I'm sure, as we go ahead in the discussion phase of it. But the point to understand is these tools are supposed to help us research better. They're supposed to make the process more smooth. It are able to help us to maybe brainstorm better and to write better. So that's the broad observation as of this point of time. So we can see that using this information, which was a short passage on what are the long-term implications of digital humanities, it has given me this information. And I can take it from here and then I can put it into, let's try one more prompt in this. So just some research topics for the research paper on the basis of the above. Right. So using this information, again, this is another good, very short demo of how memory is working. It will go back to the above output, and based on that, it will try to give me very, very specific results as far as the broader topics of research and its impact is concerned. So I think we'll let it generate. We'll come back to heuristica, and that's how tools in conjunctions can be used. We'll see that again as we go ahead. So these are some of the options that are here. There are a lot many more. There is one. This would allow us to extract concepts from a content, then significance of the topic that maybe you can explore. But the one thing that I want to show about implications is this part. Let's say I want to look at some implications or some category of implications which is not given here. So what I can do is I can click on custom. Now, when I click on custom, it will give me this search option right here. Let's try to look at the one that I've given as an example. So this category is not mentioned. So especially this category is not mentioned in the drop-down list, especially when we are looking at something very, very specific. So then that in that case, this will help. So now we should be having environmental implications coming up. Yeah. So one major application is to use or is the use of digital tools to analyze the visual environmental data, which can enhance our understanding of ecological issues. Just a small part of what the output is going to look like. And I can again save this, and in this way, I can transition in between the maps. Now, another interesting aspect is right now, all the options that I have shown are on the knowledge tab. I can click on this drop down menu here on the top, and I can see that there are two other sections that are coming up. One is writing. If I click on writing, for example, somebody's mic is on. Can I please request? Thank you. Yeah. So we can see that there are a few options that are opening up here, which are available for free usage. Let's say, for example, I want to convert. So I can see that currently the two options that are available to me is converting this to a post. Just a short demo of what some of these tools can help us do as we go ahead in the future development of this platform. It's recent, it's fairly new. It has not been so long since this tool was launched. I think somewhere last year it was launched. So we can see that it tries to create a short Twitter post out of this main topic that was selected. If I click on a poem, it has added this recently, I think, increase the level of creativity. I can also give out the whose style I want the poem to be. Maybe let's say a more modern poet, T.S. Eliot. Let's see if I can. Right now in the free version, it is able to do a haiku only. Anyways, so we can see that this is how the writing tab works. And and there are tabs for specific fields as well. As of now, the fields that it allows us to map or plan our business, medicine, physics, psychology, etc. But the most of the features here are behind the subscription. So I'm not showing that. So you can please explore. You can request you to please explore that. And maybe by tomorrow, if you have explored these platforms, I would request everyone to please share their experiences as well. Okay, and I have other tools to show, so I am going to stop with Heuristica here. So that's the second one for today. It's Heuristica, and I have already posted the link in the chat box for those of us who wish to try to look at the platform. And just a short recap that it will require an account to be created. My third tool for today, again, a very well-known popular platform, has been around for some time now, is a platform called as Insightful. Now, Insightful has two different sections that are there inside it. The good part about, again, Insightful is that it does not require any account and it's completely free to use. I don't know why my tab is not going. Yeah. So we can see that right here on the home page. We can see two sections. The one on the left would allow us to build a network of papers. Now we'll see in just a minute how powerful the tool is. And on the right here, we have something called as literature connector. We'll come back to those in a moment. But as we go ahead, as I go down and as I scroll down in the platform, we can see some of the statistics that are available to us, which are about Insightful. It has these many papers currently, documents currently listed inside its database. And we'll see how it basically functions. Okay. So there are four major ways in which Insightful can be searched for. If we have a very specific title of a paper that we are looking for, we can go with that. A DOI link will also work. We can paste that. A URL of PubMed or ARXIV will also work. As long as the paper is inside its database, it will show us the results. But let's say none of that works. And let's say that I have again something as basic as a series of keywords only, or a topic in my mind that is which I want to use the platform. So, and Insightful is again that tool which would help us transition from selection of the topic to get started on the process of using AI or trying to take help of AI in literature review as well. So we'll just to keep that in mind. We'll try to search for something. Let's say maybe something different now. Let's try something along the lines of communication. Let's see if I can find the paper. I think let's go with this one. There's fairly high citations. I'm randomly selecting a document. Something else it is now. Energy efficient communication protocol for wireless micro sensor networks. Some statistics here on the top, which would be useful to take a note of, is just a short info about information about Insightful. So what this says cited by is this particular document is being cited by 2,448 other documents inside of Insightful, and it is citing 22 other documents. We have a year of publication, whether it is available in open access or not. It says no. Mostly open access for this platform will not be there because Insightful has a very different use case. I'll be showing that in a moment. And then we have some options here on this side, which are essentially working on the notion of graph theory. So papers inside the graph, citations in the graph, all of that is referring to this graph right here. If I maximize it, we can see that this paper right here is the one that we have selected. It's in the center, and it would allow me to navigate through other papers which are connected to it via citations. So if I click on the second document, it will show me the amount of uh, hops that it takes. And in between these two, there are about 15 papers that are connecting these two documents. And what this essentially does is it would show to us the usefulness of whether the paper that I'm looking for or trying to understand would be useful for topic that I'm working with or not. And we also will have a legend of year. So this legend of year publication would be starting from the earliest paper it was able to find since I selected from 2005. It has limited itself to 2000 to 2016. This graph can be zoomed in or zoomed out. And if I click on this paper, for example, we can see that this one has a more uh, detailed list of about, I think, 6 or 7 papers that are connecting. So these papers are being mentioned in both of them, either being cited or being referred to when the two papers are being talked about. So that's what the representation is about. But the main part that I wanted to show is, and this graph can be filtered according through some filters. We can through publication year, entering of keywords that whether I want so many words to be there inside my abstract or paper or so many words to not be there. That can be typed. But for better results, I would say that we keep it as this. We come down, and this is where the main strength of Insightful starts to come in. The rest of the of the web page would be divided into different sections. The first section will give me a detailed list of papers which are similar to the paper that I have selected here, the first one. So the first one will be similar, and then I have a whole list of other papers which are similar to the topic. And we can see that the list is quite long. It has about 5 sections or 5 tabs. And if I click on save, we can see that it allows me to download a BibTeX file, an RIS file, or it also allows me to download and sort of import it into Mendeley and Zotero as well, depending on whatever I'm using. But let's say I don't want to do any of that. A simple way out is to save this is to maybe just simply select it. I'll just copy it and I'll paste it on whatever document I'm working with. Or a more simpler way out is to use this option. I'm sure many of us know about it. It's called the snipping tool. It would allow me to click a screenshot of this particular section and I can save this list of papers for my reference. And if I click on the plus option, it will allow me to add the papers to my primary paper that I have selected. I'm not doing that, but just to show what it is doing. So that's the first section, which is the similar paper. Now, this similarity of these documents and the one on the top are according to the number of citations, common citations or common references that it is able to find. So, in the whole website of Insight or the whole platform works on the connections between papers itself. And the second section is, so as the sections go ahead, they end up becoming more important. On the left side here, we have what Insightful recognizes as the most important papers in this domain, according to the number of the year of publication, the number of citations. So here we have that list with the list of authors. So that way it also allows us to get an idea about what the important authors and which are the journals or which are the publication journals that are working in this area. And this side here on the right has a list of only review papers. So these are just review papers for the area on which I am working into. So that is something to take a note of. Again, I can save this, just either download it or copy paste it as I showed earlier. And for most of them, they will have around 5 or 6 tabs, and the list of the papers is quite long. So something to just take a quick note of. Same goes with the review papers as well, as you can see. And again, there is a save option right here. I can download them, I can import them. And then we come to the third section. The one on the left shows the list of the top 100 authors, according to Insightful, who are working in the area from which I have selected my paper. And it would give me a list of the papers of those authors along with their basic information with the year of publication. You can see the quite recent 2022-23. This list is a bit shorter, I think about two sections worth of it. And the one on the right is the recent papers that it arranges or tries to arrange according to chronological order. And again, the output style is the same. And we have about 5 sections worth of papers right here. And any of them can be copy pasted inside the search window of Insightful. And from there, I can change the papers if I wish to do so. And the last section of Insightful has the last 2 sections. These are the top authors whose documents have been cited or added to the section to the database of Insightful. And you can see that for each author, how many number of documents are listed. Again, I think it is about 5 tabs. So this also gives us a starting point in terms of who are the authors who we can refer to when we are working on any topic or area, or who are the papers that we can look at. And these are the upcoming authors. So that also might be useful maybe then. I mean, it depends upon the domain that you're working in and how I want to take it forward. Maybe I can get connected to them on the search gate and maybe try to see if the papers are available there. And the last section is these three areas. The first one is a list of top institutions working in this domain with the number of papers that the institution has got listed inside Insightful. So we can see that the institutions are being mentioned. And again, I think 5 sections. This is a list of top journals in this area with the total number of papers that it has. And lastly, the similar journals to the journal in which this paper was published from. And just to give a certain context, just to sort of reiterate it, all this information from just one basic paper that I have selected. So the moment I change the paper or the topic, the entire information will change. And I will have this sort of information available for any area, any topic, any domain that I want to work with. And that's why as I said, it's a very, very powerful platform and would help us a lot in terms of trying to get started with the process of literature review. Why I say get started? Because the next 2 tools that I wanted to show in this category are more powerful than this. So that's insightful. In case we wish to go back to the home page, we just have to click on this logo and we can come back to the home page right here. So this would allow us to discover the most relevant literature. Just give me a moment. I'm so sorry for the interruption. I got a call from my head. I'm so sorry for that. Yeah. So we have the discover literature section right here. The second one. So while the first section allows us to discover the information that we have just seen from one document, this one, which is literature connector, is usually useful whenever we want to have the same information, but let's say for 2 different topics, 2 different documents, or 2 different papers from 2 different domains. So let's say, for example, I am trying to connect maybe this book with this literature connector works better if we know very specifically what are the areas that we want to connect. For now, I just want to show its functionality. So I have randomly selected 2 different areas or texts, and I'll click on search. And what it does essentially is it will try to show me the common elements between the 2 documents that I have selected. And the number of papers, as we can see, it has gone through is quite detailed. And from therein, it has found these many texts that are common between the two. And based on that, we get this list of common papers. So, as I said, right now the results are very limited because I have randomly selected two texts or two topics. Literature connector will essentially work quite well when we know very specifically what are the two topics that we want to connect. And that can be done very easily by using the first option, which is the source literature part. And source literature gives us a whole lot of information to work with. So that's my third tool for today. Before we go ahead, just a small recap in case anybody has joined us right now only. We started out with looking at ChatGPT. We have looked at two features inside it, memory and instructions, followed by the first platform, which was Open Knowledge Maps. Then I moved on to a mapping software, which would essentially help us with planning, which is Heuristica. And now the last one that I've shown is Insightful. I think I forgot to share the link of Insightful, so I'll do that as well. And yeah, I've shared the link. I'll look at all the questions. Please post them in the chat box. I'll take a look at all of them once we are into the discussion part of it. Okay. So after Insightful, as I said, this helps us get started on the journey or the path of literature review. We have two more platforms that we will be covering today. If time permits, I'll try to do more, but the two are there. The one that is coming next is a very, very powerful platform, very popular again. It's called as Research Rabbit. Now, Research Rabbit has been around for some time. Best part again is completely free to use. It doesn't require any kind of subscription or any kind of amount to be paid. It does require an account to be created, but we have to sign up. So since I already have an account, I'll click on login, and I think it should take me to the topic itself. Yeah. Yeah. So I have deleted something that was there from my previous demo. This is what will come up when we open Research Rabbit for the first time. The process to access Research Rabbit is again simple. We just have to type it in Google and it will take us to the home page. Let me paste the link of the Research Rabbit in the chat box. Yeah, I've done that. Okay. So once I log in, it will bring me to this screen right here. And we can immediately see that it has an option that is given right here, which would allow us to directly connect to Zotero. So in case I have my uh, collection of documents or papers inside Zotero already, I can import it from there. But since I don't have that, for example, and especially if I'm starting out with a research topic, the inbuilt functionality of Research Rabbit is quite powerful in terms of literature review as compared to Insightful, that as we'll see. Before going ahead, just a few short things to look at. There's a settings tab right here, which would allow us to change a few things, maybe to generate a new email or if we want to change some credentials. And the account also, if we want to delete it, will be done from here. Okay. Now, currently, as we can see, Research Rabbit is completely blank. In order to access the functionality of Research Rabbit, what we have to do is we have to look at this, or we have to click on this section right here, which says collection. If I click on it, it will open up a new option right here. Now, collection is basically can be compared to a new folder that we create inside our Microsoft Windows or iOS or whatever operating system you're using. It's a dedicated space that has to be named for any topic or any area that we are working on. And now this can be named anything. There is no thumb rule here. It should allow us to come back to it and identify. I mean, it should be easy for us to identify as and when we wish to come back to it. So I'll give it the name of the topic itself. I click on it, it will give me a pop-up like this. Create collection with name Digital Humanities. I click on OK, and we can see that a collection has been added. right? If I want to delete this, I can delete it from these three tabs right here, and it would allow me to delete it from there. We'll come back to this in a moment. But right now, currently, we can see that all the options are in gray. That's it. What we have to do in order to start accessing the features of Research Rabbit is we have to click on this option right here. I'll click on Add Papers. We can see that there are multiple ways of adding papers. As I mentioned earlier, I can import my Zotero library if I am using Zotero, or I can upload a text file. If you remember from Open Knowledge Maps, I downloaded one text file. So files or collections like these, the one that this is the one, can be imported directly from by clicking on text. RIS files can also be added. If I don't want to do any of that, or if I don't have any such information, I can simply search for the papers from inside the library of Research Rabbit. I'll click on search, and we can see that it has divided itself into two subject areas like open knowledge maps. One is biomedical and life sciences, and all the others are listed under the all subjects tab. So currently, since we are working primarily with digital humanities since the beginning, we'll keep it as selected by default on all subject areas. We have a list of papers, and we can see that most of them are connecting or being imported from the Semantic Scholar archive or from the Semantic Scholar collection. We have the name of the authors here on the paper, its year of publication, the place of publication, the title, and a short abstract. So based on this short information, I can decide whether I want to add this information to my collection or not. Let's say I find the top 10 or 15, after I have read through it, I have found the top 10 or 15 papers to be useful for my uh, collection or for my research. I simply can click on this add to collection button. It will give us this tab or this option which says it has been added to collection. The more the papers there are inside its collection, the better the output results would be. Yeah, sometimes it will take a few seconds. So unless this pop-up comes, we might have to click on it once or twice. And if you want to remove it from collection, we can do so by the same button. Yeah, I think this much is enough. Okay, let's have added all the papers. Now all I have to do is I have to close this from here, and we can see that all the papers are being added as we speak, and they have been added now. So whichever paper I click on, let's say click on this one. For example, if this is what I'm working on, I will get a similar kind of an output from before. I will get a more detailed abstract this time, the title, and for whichever papers or for whichever documents the PDF link is available or the paper is available in open access, and that paper will open up either the website or the paper. In this case, it's the paper. I think. Yeah, the systematic review of wiki data on digital humanities project, and I can save it or I can put it somewhere in my collection. For the PDFs, for the papers which are not available in open access, this PDF button will not be there. Most of them, I think, are in. Yeah, there we go. So this one is not available for open access. So it will say no PDF available. And in this way, let's say this is my primary document. I'm working with this one. If, let me see if there is another one. Yeah, this one will be better. So let's say this is my primary document. And the best part is this option. Based on this, just like Insightful, in a much detailed manner, however, I can click on the similar work option. It will open up a whole new section, again, just from this one document, just to take us back to it. It has found about 369 papers which are given in this timeline. If I can just zoom in on this. Yeah. This entire this interactive timeline would be created, and right now it's a network. I can do a timeline also, and right, it has started from somewhere around 1967 where this paper was found, and up till 2023. And I can also change the timeline of the network based on the first and the last author. Based on that, the graph will change. You can see the names are changing. And the entire list of papers or works similar to the one that I have selected would be found here. And the best part is, if I wish to, for example, get this list, all I need to do is I need to click on this option right here. It says a CSV file. I'll click on this. It will download a CSV for me if I open it. Yeah, okay, I think this is for this particular section. I'll have to select all of them. Let's have selected all of them. And all of them can be selected simultaneously also. Whatever I select or deselect, this menu will change here. And I think now CSV will work better. Okay, we have downloaded it. And we can see that the same information would be available this time, but in the form of an Excel file. We have a DOI link. We have the entire title of the paper, the abstract as well, the author's names being mentioned. Most importantly, the journal where it is published and the year of publication. So whichever papers I select manually from here, I can download them as an Excel. So as I said, something that the previous tools did not have, especially Insightful, was this feature to download it. We had to copy paste it manually. The Research Rabbit solves that problem to a certain extent. Or if I don't want to select it manually, I'll deselect all of them. Let me go back to the paper that I was showing. It was the second one. I can simply click on similar work. I can click on this one button right here, say select all. I'll just download a CSV again. This time I should have all 369 documents for my reference. Most of them, sometimes if it is not able to pull all the papers, we would have to select some of them manually. But essentially, it will try to pull as much information as it can. And that's the first one. In this paper, whatever similar references it was able to find, those papers also would be listed here. So based on the primary document that I select and the references that papers similar to this one are having, they also will come in this section. Again, they can be downloaded. Same goes for citations also. So for each category, I will get more papers to work with, and then I can read through them and decide whether they're useful for my reference or not. And based on this author, if I click on the suggested authors tab, it will give me a list of, since there are two mentioned here, there should be a list of two authors coming in. I don't know why it is not showing. Yeah. I think the portal is a bit slow. Okay. Let me try another one. Yeah. So these authors and suggested authors essentially tells us the authors similar to the one that I have selected or the paper that I have selected. And apart from that, there should be one more option.
Your damn
Yeah.
smart perfect.
Somebody's mic is on. Can I again please request you to mute? Thank you. Yeah. So based on the paper that I selected, I can simply see some of the other papers that are available here. So suggested authors are about 637, where again, so this will keep on going like this. I can navigate it depending upon my requirement and based on the initial paper that I began with. Now, another important facility or another important feature that Research Rabbit allows us to have is to work in real time with any collaborators that I'm working on for a project that I have. So there are two ways to do this. I can click on this shareable link option. I can copy this and it will enable the public collection option, which means that whenever I paste the link anywhere, maybe inside an email or if I embed it on a web page, whosoever can will click on this link would be able to see the collection in its in that form only. Only view it. They won't be able to edit it. It would be visible. So in case we are working in different time zones, maybe at different locations, and if I have worked on something and my collaborator has to look at it and review it, this will help with that in real time. We can add collaborators also. It works just like Google Drive. I can click on this collaborators option. I can click on edit. Now this will open this option that I was showing earlier, the three dot option. It's the same one. I can give the collection a name. I can add the list of my collaborators and I can give them permissions. The permissions are of two levels. They can only see the paper. So especially if I'm sharing it with my students, maybe. So it has the multi-use case options also. If I'm teaching a topic where I want them to look at papers, they can go through it. They cannot edit. Or if I'm working with collaborators, I can allow them to add papers also. And I can click on invite. Whichever email ID is entered here it will send a email invite because the email updates option is enabled. It would send a invite to them. It should come in a few moments. I don't know why it will come. We'll come back to it. Will come back to that. But it will send an email invite link to them. And when they click on that link, they would be able to come to this screen and directly start editing the papers after they log in first. I think maybe the email account is the same. That's why I'm using the same account. I've typed the same account. That's why it's not showing. But yeah, it does explain the functionality. So that's Research Rabbit in a sense. In this way, we can add as many collections as we want, especially if we are working with multiple domains or multiple topics. And it helps us navigate the literature review process better. I think we have some more time on our hands. I'll show, I think, one or two platforms more. The next one that I want to show is actually a website. It's not essentially an AI tool, but since we're talking about literature review, it's quite popular. It has been around for some time. This one as well. Again, doesn't require any sign up. It's called Paperity. It's a collection of open access papers, and I will post the link of this as well in the chat box. Yeah, I've posted the link. And it works very easily. We just have to type whatever topic that we want to work with. Let's say I'm working with role of technology in classroom pedagogy. I'll just click on the search option, and based on my subject area or keywords, it will give me all the major papers and documents that are available in open access in one single location. So I don't have to sort of hunt through multiple platforms, especially for papers that are available in open access. So let's just give it a few seconds. The reason why I particularly like to use Paperity is because of the filter system that it has. As I'll show you in just a moment. These are the papers. I can access any of them. I just have to click on the title, and it either will either open up a copy here or it will download the paper. I think it has downloaded in this instance. Okay. So we have the paper here. I'll go back to yeah. I'll go back to the platform, and this is where the filter system is. So I can filter according to the journal, the list of journals that are given. And if I click on show more, it will show more. I can search according to very specifically the public information. I can also search through the languages, the language of the document, the country of origin, and publishers also. So some of the most well-known names like OUP and Springer and all are listed here. So whenever I click on something, whenever I click on any of these options that I want to, it will open up the document for me. And lastly, I can also search between regular and gray papers. Now, gray papers usually for Paperity would refer to any newspaper documents and newspaper columns or articles that is published. Regular papers are other documents like journal articles, newspaper articles, etc. So that's another useful website. Let me try one more paper. Yeah, so a PDF file should open. If it does not open, I think this one it has not opened up. This is the link, I think. Yeah. So the hyperlink would be given. I can simply save the paper according to my requirements. So that's the next platform for today, which is called Paperity. And the same can actually be done now, even on a phone as well. So this is one very, very interesting platform that is very useful. It's called Our Discovery. It's a mobile app. It does the same thing, but the best part is that it would allow us to customize the specific research area that we are working with. So what this means is whatever research areas I include here, when I download it from my mobile phone, it would allow us to get a daily updates on whatever papers are being put into its platform regularly. So based on the topic that I select, I would be able to simply add on to any specific area that I wish to add on to, and that would be added to my library of papers. and it updates on a daily basis, and it has a huge collection of papers. And most of them can be accessed pretty directly from the platform itself. So that's another interesting feature. Okay, I think I can show one more tool for today before we open up for some questions. Um, Okay, the last one I think we can look at is maybe I'll try to show this one. Okay, we'll be looking at this one in more detail tomorrow. This is one of tools similar to ChatGPT, but I just want to show because from here on in, after literature review, I have one more tool to go in the category of literature review, but it's a bit longer, and I want to spend some time on questions as well. So where we're going to be starting with that one. After that, we'll come to perplexity. Perplexity will be our first tool in the area of writing. So when we transition from literature review to start to think about how we can utilize ChatGPT or other tools to sort of help us with the writing process, perplexity will be our entry point into that, followed by, of course, some tools on data analysis and other areas. I think we are exactly on time. We have about 15 minutes left. I, I hope I'm audible. If somebody can let me know.
Yes.
Okay, yes, I'm so sorry. I think I lost my connection for a minute. Yeah, so I think we are exactly on time. With that, we can open up for some questions. I hope my small presentation was useful, and I would request that we can have some interactions. Let me stop sharing my screen, and we can have some questions now. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to me patiently. It was a long session. I hope it was useful. So yeah, we can have some questions. Please feel free to unmute, or maybe you can post your questions in the chat box also. We have about, I think, 15 minutes on our hands. I have tried to post almost all the links that I could, but not to worry. I will also be sharing a list of all these tools that we discuss after the sessions.
Yeah,
So maybe
Vishnu Kanare
some,
here. Yeah,
yes, sir.
can
Yeah,
I
yeah.
ask? See, my question
Yes,
was about
please.
ChatGPT. I have already typed it in the chat box, but it has gone long, quite far back.
Right.
It's a,
Let
it's
me, let
two-part
me.
question. No, no, I can
Mhm.
tell you. Uh,
Yeah.
is the version you are using ChatGPT 4.0?
Hmm.
Then second is it a
Yes, sir.
professional version? And the third thing is whether we can change the customization so that it will not refer to the earlier ones, whatever I have fed in. Because a person may be
Okay.
wearing more than one hat. See, today I'm looking at it from an academician's perspective or from research
True.
perspective, whereas at some other point of time
True.
I may look at it from a different perspective.
Very true, sir. Very true. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So is it
So
possible? And what
yeah.
effect will it have on the
Okay.
content?
So yeah, yeah, yeah. So let me try to answer all three of your questions. First one, since the one that you referred to, I think you were talking about the premium version of ChatGPT. So yes, the version that I am personally using is the premium version. But whatever functionalities I have shown right now, including custom instructions and memory, are equally applicable and can be done inside free version also. But yes, I was using the premium version. And secondly, the memory feature can be turned off. It will be enabled for any new chat that you or any new interaction or any new instance that you have with ChatGPT after you turn it off. So then it will not be applicable to any new interaction that you are having. So once memory is turned off, the idea is that whatever information or insight or input we are giving to it, it will try not to use it to train its model. So that's what a memory feature does essentially. Vishnu sir, I hope I have
Yeah, I
answered
no,
your.
I'll just clarify my question. See, We are answering some
Can we
questions and giving
look
a
for some other
context.
question, please?
Can we change it? Yeah, can we change it? That's the only question.
Sorry, I think somebody there was a overlap of the voice. Can you repeat the last part once more?
Can it be changed? That's the question.
Custom instructions can be changed at any point of time. Yes, any point of
Yeah.
Okay.
Next question, please.
time. Yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you.
people can.
I can see one question in the chat box. Let me take that. It was a very useful session giving an overview of the various tools available. I want to know if we give assignment to students, is there any way to detect if they have used AI tools to complete it? Yes, there are two questions, two answers to this question. One is, of course, provided we have institutional access to the plagiarism checking tools like Turnitin, they now have inbuilt AI plagiarism detection technology that they have integrated with it. So along with a regular plagiarism check, they allow us to do a check for presence of AI content also. It's an indicative percentage that it gives, but it does give that out. Secondly, as we read more, so the second way of doing this, and I think, but this is something that cannot happen overnight. It happens with time. So that is, if we read more and more content that these AI tools are generating, then what will happen is that over a period of time, we would start noticing patterns in the way that the content is generated. So I'll give you one small example to explain what I mean, Smita ma'am. Most of the times, if the content is not edited in any way, and even the best paraphrasing tools cannot do this, is that the concluding statement for any state content that ChatGPT generates usually will end with a keyword like overall, in conclusion, furthermore, etc. So the moment when we see a word like this at the end of a paragraph, that is the sort of a indicator that there is a possibility. I'm not saying that's always the case, but there is a possibility that it might have been generated through AI. So in this way, we start getting new insights. Second insight is that most of the times the beginning state word of any line or any statement would be again a connecting word like this. Usually, that's not how we normally write. Whenever we normally write, on our own, we write in a flow. Whereas when AI tools generate the content, they're trying to use this kind of a pattern of writing, right? So these are some of the ways that would help us to detect AI plagiarism, right? Yeah, but this the second one, as I mentioned, happens with time. It requires some amount of exposure
Any
to
other question,
plagiarism.
please?
Yes,
Kindly unmute yourself. We have another 5 minutes to go.
we have another 5 minutes. Yes, please feel free to ask your question. Okay, you can share some insights also if you have any.
I have a question.
Yes,
Am I audible? Okay.
yes, ma'am, you're
Contain
audible.
AI.
Yeah. Can these kind of AI research tools substitute Scopus?
Yeah, for what purpose, ma'am? Are you referring to database of papers or for what purpose, ma'am? Specifically, because Scopus also has multiple purposes. So, for what specific use case? I hope I'm audible, ma'am. Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
audible.
Yeah. So I was asking follow-up question on when you are saying that it can replace Scopus, exactly for what context or for what purpose, if you can throw some light on that.
Talking about Scopus.
Yes. Your voice is breaking, man. I think there might be some connectivity issue. I'm not able to hear you. Okay, I think is ma'am there? I'm not sure. If yes, you can please repeat your question, or else we can have some other questions as well. Yes. Any more questions?
Any more questions from anybody? Dr. Punit, I have a small question. Are you able to
Please.
hear? Am I
Yes,
audible?
sir. Yes,
This
absolutely, sir.
Yeah, but tell me the AI generated content, does it come under the plagiarism of the UGC guidelines by students?
Y- Yes, sir, it does. But the not the regular plagiarism, but what has happened is that after ChatGPT was launched for public use, I think 2 years back, uh, it has been started to be used by students. I think somebody mentioned it in the chat box also in the question for generating and submission of assignments. So what has happened because of that is that now the major databases and publication houses. So like to add on to what was somebody asked about Scopus, they have had to draft a whole separate policy for usage of AI in research. And those policies are available on the homepage of these platforms. I'm planning to discuss the one. I'll take one case study, one example from Scopus. So once we are at the end of the report part tomorrow, we will be looking at how Scopus has given us some guidelines as to how AI can be used constructively for research purposes. So, but yes, that's why Turnitin also has now included AI generated content as a part of their plagiarism check whenever we upload any documents.
Okay, if there is no other questions, so Dr. Punit, thank you very much. We had a privilege of having you during the dinner time almost. So thank you very much for being with us from Surat, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And thanks
Thank you
everybody
so
for
much,
their
sir.
presence. Wonderful interaction. Thank you. Look
Thank you
forward
so
to seeing
much. Thank
everybody
you, everyone.
tomorrow, 7 o'clock.
Thank
Kindly
you.
don't
Thank
miss
you,
the
sir.
class tomorrow. Okay,
Thank
thank you. Thank you very much.